Howdy YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman. So today we've got another spray gun review on a brand new spray gun. It's called the ANi Compact. So it's based off the ANi R160. Now, the regulars of the channel would be pretty familiar with the ANi R160. It's a bit of a favorite of mine. I've generally liked it in the 1.2. It's been, a big favorite of mine and a big favorite of the channel. I know I've got a lot of people onto this spray gun. I'm a big fan of the price, the affordability, and the versatility of this gun. But this gun just got a little bit more versatile. So as you can see on the front there, it's 1.3. So this gun is now available in 1.3 and 1.4. So that's the ANi Compact. But the R160, which it's based off, that's available in the 1.0 and the 1.2. I was a massive fan of the 1.2, but you know, it did have its limitations. But I tell you what, guys, that was where Chris came in from Spray Guns Direct. It was actually his idea to come up with this gun, because like his idea was, a lot of people that are spraying from home, they only have, 10 amp, relatively small, 2 or 3 horsepower compressors that you just can't run a lot of the full-size guns with. But that all changes with this spray gun. Now you might be saying, oh, but you're spraying this in the workshop. Now I was going to spray something at home with it, but then I'm like, look, I already sprayed a couple of jobs with it at home, just like a quarter panel on my Corolla. I actually still haven't edited that. I'll get around to that later, but I can guarantee you guys that small compressors can definitely handle this. Well, of course there would be limitations, but I have a little 3.3 horsepower compressor, and that thing would just run all day and it would not have any issues at all keeping up with this gun, because as you can see, it's got a small air cap on it. But have a look at the size of that fan. It's actually quite incredible, the size of the fan, and the fluid delivery is extremely fast. Now what I decided to do, because I had used the 1.3 already, I decided to put the 1.4 on to paint these black bends. Now as it turns out, it was actually overkill. So the 1.4, I would not recommend it for most people. This 1.4 puts so much material on. The only way that I would really recommend this to most people is if you just wanted one gun and you wanted this gun to actually spray high build primer too. So you could potentially get this in a 1.4, and this pumps out that much material that you could actually do high build primers with it. You may need to put an extra dash of thinners in it, because look, generally I would recommend a high build primer through a 1.8, right? But because this thing is such a cannon, it's also, you're not going to have any issues with the compressor, as I mentioned earlier. So let's just say you were looking at a couple of spray guns for your primer and your color and your clear. You might say, well, I do like the looks of that primer gun, but my compressor isn't going to keep up with it. So what am I going to do? Well, this is an option. Like I say, you may have to put a little bit extra thinners in. You may have to put an extra coat or two on because it's going on a little bit thinner, because you did put that little bit extra thinners on, and just do each pass just a little bit slower. But I could definitely see myself using that 1.4 for a high build primer at home. You may sort of struggle if you're looking at doing full panel primes, like if you've done something like what I've recently done, like a restoration job at home, you may sort of struggle with it. But as you can see here, it did leave me with a little bit of a sort of chunky orange peel on this one, but being that it's a Benz, it sort of, it fitted right in with the rest of the car. So I did rip that 1.4 off, and I will not be using that very often for base coat or clear coat. The 1.3 pumps enough out as it is. But even with the 1.3, have a look at the size of that fan. And I do mention that because one thing I can tell you, that the larger fluid tip will actually open that fan up as well. So even with the 1.3, it's still got a nice big fan on it. Look, they had a big fan with the 1.2, but even with the 1.0, I did notice that fan did start sort of shucking up a little bit and getting a little bit slower. That's why previously I did recommend to most people the 1.2. But look, even with the 1.2 on the ANi R160, you can paint panels with it. You can paint exterior panels, but this thing, it performs like a full-size spray gun, basically. As you can see here, I'm in there spraying base coat, spraying waterborne base coat, no dramas at all. Pumping it on, getting good coverage, good fluid delivery. Got a nice even fan on it. It doesn't have excessive overspray, so you're not wasting heaps of material. S12 is the PPS2 adapter if you are a PPS2 user. As you can see, I like to run the gauges down the bottom, but look, in saying that, with these guns, I've just found crank them right up. I've found, say, 60 PSI at the wall. Generally, you know, depending on the size of your airline, if you've got an extra long airline, you may want to put it on, you know, turn the pressure up, say, a little bit. But I found your standard, say, 10 meter airline, 10 or 12 meter airline, 60 PSI at the wall, just crank this gun up. They do actually operate really well with a high pressure, but they don't need a high volume, if that makes sense. You might say, oh, but you need all this high pressure. No, you don't actually need a high volume of air. That's the key difference, is that you can run these at high pressure with a low volume. It's something that ANi call HPS. I think that stands for high pressure system. Don't quote me on that, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it's basically the opposite of HVLP. So they use the like a low volume of air, so you don't need a massive compressor, but you'll run the gun at a high pressure. As of me making this video, they're not actually listed on Spray Guns Direct. Now, I will wait until they are on Spray Guns Direct before I publish this video. All I can go off as far as pricing goes is the R160, and if they have kept the same pricing as the R160, this gun here goes for about 170 Australian dollars at current exchange rates. So that's pretty impressive. $170 for something like this, it definitely punches above its weight. And also saw like an extra setup. So if you wanted to, say, get just one gun, and you could get an extra setup if you did decide that you wanted the 1.4, that was at about $70. But you kind of, at that price, you're nearly halfway towards just getting a second gun. That's what I'd nearly do. I'd nearly just get, yeah, if you did want to use one for, say, primer in the 1.4, like I mentioned earlier, I nearly would just get a second one, but of course that's a decision you'll have to make. You know, you might just say, hey, I'm already maxing it out, and you know, that extra sort of $100 counts. So yeah, just get yourself just the 1.4 setup that you can just whack into the same gun. So that's always good. But yeah, like I say, I've been a massive fan of these guns. They're pretty good build quality. Like, I've never broke. Yeah, I think I might have had one of them slightly go on me. One of the seals in them, because they do have these plastic seals in there. But yeah, all in all, like, for the price, I mean, it's a $170 spray gun. That's cheap, you know, and some, you know, $170 spray gun of this quality, that's pretty good. I think it's good value, you know. Look, you're not getting the quality of top of the line DeVilbiss, SATA, or Iwata. Don't expect that. But for the price, they're actually a really good spray gun. They're really well built, and like I say, they hold up in a workshop environment. So it's not just the kind of thing. Anything that doesn't hold up to a workshop environment, something like those, the starting line guns, I don't really recommend them. Like, I'll do a review on them and I'll get a nice finish out of them, but there's just something about them. You know, when you've got like a poorly built tool in your hand, you know that, like, and yeah, those starting line guns and the finishing line guns from DeVilbiss, they're just not good quality. Now this gun here, they are actually made in Italy. I've been a massive fan of the company. I've actually just recently done a review on one of their air blowers. So they've got this air blower, it's called like the hybrid, and it heats up the air without any electronics. It's kind of magic to me how they make it work. So they're definitely like an innovator in the industry. They've got awesome things, like they've got a 3-stage filter that you can use for breathable air. Can't remember exactly how much it was, but it is like so much cheaper than the competition, and they're awesome. They're really good quality. So like I say, made in Italy, awesome company, awesome spray gun, and they've got actually a good relationship with Chris and Spray Guns Direct, so they can actually sort of order things like this spray gun. Like, what an awesome idea from Chris as well. So he deals with a lot of you know, spray gun sales, so obviously he saw a little bit of a gap in the market, and this thing is a little beast, guys. Get onto it if you're working from home, or yeah, so it's basically a mini size spray gun that you can yeah, spray 2-pack clear and anything through. Yeah, mind the finish, because I'm spraying PPG and their clears just don't flow. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I mean, that's pretty much the limit. If I push that clear any further, I'm getting runs, and I'm getting like solvent ball on that boot lid. I know you guys know I can do better, so I don't feel as if I have to sort of make excuses. I know that you guys have been here for long enough to see what I can do with paint brands like Standox, but this is about as good as you can get with PPG. But you know, I make it look good. I make PPG look good. Anyway, not to give too much of a dig at PPG. I actually don't mind it too much. I make it work. Anyway, guys, if you want one, be sure to go and check out the link in the description, and yeah, go over to spraygunsdirect.co.uk and grab yourself one. Also, at the end of this video, yeah, I guess if you are going to go buy one, you should make sure that you let them know that I sent you, and you'll get yourself a free spray gun cleaning kit. So a free fast mover spray gun cleaning kit, as you see on screen now. It comes with a few good little brushes, Teflon tape, spray gun lube, and a toothbrush, and that little piece in there which you can sort of unblock some holes on your spray gun with, which definitely does come in handy. Oh, actually, sorry, there was one thing that I did want to point out. I noticed with the 1.3, I've got a very slightly uneven buildup of paint on one of the air horns. I'm not sure if that's just a one-off. It's something that I'm willing to overlook on a gun of this price. And the fact that I could not actually fault the fan definitely made it so that, yeah, I'm willing to overlook it, but I would be remiss in my duties as a reviewer if I did not, at the very least, mention it. I did get a very slight uneven build up on one of the air horns. Anyway, until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.